I'm Lauren from Pack Hacker, and in this video we're taking a detailed look at the Tom BIHN Rogue Sacoche, which I've been testing for the last 2 weeks. Let's dive in. The outside of this bag is pretty simple, so there's not really much going on. We have YKK zippers if you're going to just be looking at the front here, and then that's pretty much it. We do have the attachment points for the carry system, which I'll get into in a second, and then we've got a little tab over here that says Tom BIHN, which is pretty standard if you're familiar with Tom BIHN in terms of logo and things like that. This material here, the choice that we have is their Ceylon material, which is a high tenacity nylon. It's similar to the Halcyon, but a little bit easier to recycle, with the idea that they'll be able to recycle these materials down the line. And it just feels, it feels pretty similar, I would say. Like if the differences between them are pretty minute. I think if you were to close your eyes and feel both of them, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference, to be quite honest. But so if that Halcyon material is something that you like, then this is a really great option, and they've got a ton of different colors in both, so, or in all of the options for materials. So you do have a few, you know, you can make a decision based off of what style you like. But it's got this nice kind of like, it's like flat and skinny up top, and then it tapers down to just like a wider base. And this base expands pretty much as needed based off of the gear you have inside, which we'll get into in a second. But this material is super like easy to crush and roll up. You can see that right now, like even with, you know, this bag as full as I have it, all the gear that I have in here fits pretty much up like in this chunk of space, but you can see how easy it is to just crush that down. So if you wanted to, you know, pack this in your travel backpack, you could really just roll it up and shove it in there and then take this out when you're ready to carry it around. You could also just use it as a standalone pouch if you wanted to remove this shoulder strap that it comes with. So it's kind of up to you, but it is a fairly comfortable bag to carry around just sort of as is. As for the harness system, like I just mentioned, you can remove it if you want to, but it is just a single strap. And I was curious, based off of the size of this bag, if this strap would feel like enough. And I had this thing loaded out basically as full as it can get with even a water bottle, which I'll get into in a second. And this didn't feel like it was too minimal or anything like that. This thing was actually pretty comfortable on, so you can easily adjust this to whatever size you need. So that's really great and convenient. You can wear it crossbody or just over one shoulder or whatever you're kind of feeling, which we'll get into now, but I felt like that was more than substantial. It's kind of like this nice soft seatbelt material, nice and thin, and doesn't feel like too imposing or anything. This is the bag when it's on. So I primarily wore it on the back, but you can wear it on the front if that's something that you're interested in. I'm just gonna give a quick rotation here so you can kind of get a feel for it. But I just wore this traditionally crossbody, kept it sort of on my back side here. I felt it most comfortable sitting down like toward, you know, lower than my hip, but you could, if you wanted to, bring it a little bit higher or bring it even lower depending on your torso length and things like that. The main thing that I noticed was the jingling of the zippers. That's a thing that's super common with Tom BIHN, so it's not really surprising, but it is something that can get annoying over time, so you could dampen these by adding their zipper pulls, kind of up to you, but you know, you just sort of get used to it. And in terms of the strap, even though it's just on this one shoulder, if I were to wear it not crossbody and I were to just wear it over a single shoulder, it's still pretty comfortable. So the bag, even though it's simple, it does its job really well. If you're finding this video helpful, be sure to hit subscribe so we can keep making content to help you travel smarter. But for now, we're going to get into this main compartment. So the only zipper that you see on this thing is the only way to get into this thing. So just opening it up from one side, it is dual zipper, so you can decide if you want your zippers on the left or the right. Doesn't really matter, to be quite honest. I guess it just really depends on your preference. And then this opens up to reveal the inside of this thing. So if you look here, we have 2 O-rings and then 2 O-rings on the other side, and that is for if you wanted to attach additional Tom BIHN organizational gear or pouches or things like that. That's completely up to you. But I did feel like I'm just going to kind of pull out what I have in here to give you a better look at this when it's empty. But I have a Kindle in here, I have a battery bank, and then I have my phone. So those 3 things are still relatively thin items, but they fit in here nicely. They just kind of hang out at the bottom. There's no padding or anything on this. Like I mentioned, it's easy to roll up. So, you know, with those items being in here, they do, like if you were to throw this on the ground, I wouldn't recommend it just because there is nothing to add protection. But I never felt like, even when this was loaded out, that I could feel the items that were inside against my body. So that was really great. And I'll show you that with the water bottle. But we also have 2 slip pockets here. I have a wallet and chapstick in one, and then I have my keys in the other. We have a nice long key leash, which is really great. And you can see that this pocket right here has a little bit of extra fabric, and that creates a little bit of a gusset. So this pocket, these are like identical pockets, but this one's a little flatter. And I found that to be good for keeping in items like my wallet or chapstick or something like that. And then this one here was good for keys, or if you have like a chunkier item, like if you wanted to, you know, carry a larger bank and maybe a cable or something like that, that could be a really great option. But I never really felt like these pockets got in the way. They just kind of held what I needed them to, and I was all good to go. So with all of this empty, you can see how flat this gets. That like gusseted bottom kind of folds into itself. And then, like I mentioned, you can just roll it right up if you want to store it in your bag. But one of the biggest things that I liked about this was its ability to carry chunky gear. I found that this was really handy. I had to do some shopping, so I went to a mall for the first time in forever, and I was able to carry my water bottle in here. So I do have it over here. This is an 18-ounce bottle, and I just kind of was like, when I decided that I wanted to bring my water bottle in, I was like, I wonder if it'll fit in this thing. And I put it in here and it did. So that was really great, because I feel like that's something that when you have a bag like this, you have to leave behind, because it's just simply too small to carry. So if you're somebody who doesn't really carry that much stuff on a day-to-day basis, but wants the option to be able to expand that, this is really great for that. Because for myself, if I were just walking around, I would literally, I think, just have these 4 items with me. I wouldn't really need anything else. So I'm not even gonna organize, but let's say I dump that in here. When oh, you can see I had a piece of gum. When I have this like just loaded with the stuff that I just carry on a day-to-day basis, it's really, really thin. And then I add in the water bottle and it expands accordingly. Plus I'm able to zip it up. And honestly, it didn't really even add that much bulk. It does kind of like look goofy from the outside. You can see the stuff kind of poking through. So it's not like the sleekest thing in the entire world, but I'll back up a little bit here. Like wearing this on is still really comfortable, even with that water bottle in here. And it is diagonal, so it's not the most convenient thing in the entire world, just because you do lose a little bit of storage space like on top and on bottom, because you need to have, you know, if you need to pull out your water bottle, everything's going to kind of shift around. But like I said, if you wanted to carry like a larger book, or you do have an e-reader plus some additional tech or large headphones, this is going to be a really great shout for that, just because of how simple this organization is and how it will expand to fit the larger gear as needed. So there you have it, the Tom BIHN Rogue Sacoche. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel, and we'll see you in the next one.